Go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Rover and Jetscentral little podcast here on Zoom platform. We might even open up our own YouTube channel. I didn't even talk to you about this, but maybe this podcast can go under our own YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, man. Like whatever you want to do.
No, like a separate one just for all our archives. Like I'm still going to post this to my channel.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
So last time I talked to you, you were doing a Redskins video. So do you want to kind of preview what you were talking about with the Washington Redskins? I just kind of want to bounce around the league and feel free to talk about any topics you want to discuss.
Yeah, of course. And, I have some questions for you too. But, I got that Redskins video in the chamber, ready to be uploaded. Just kind of wanted to give my overall thoughts, my honest, unbiased opinions about the franchise, kind of like the state of affairs of the franchise, what's going on with Gruden. Talked a little bit about some of the pieces on defense, Haskins, why, people that are calling him a bust and stuff just don't know, and he will be good in time. Gave a little prediction on who I think should be the front runner for the Redskins job. And, it's definitely one of my best. Not in that way, but I feel like this video, I had a lot of fun making it. Definitely one of the better videos I feel like I've done within the past couple months.
Yeah, and, this Patriots defense is unbelievable. With Haskins, I'm a little concerned because you look at the NFL and there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks, but I want to stick on the Redskins. I think that they should promote O'Connell because I want to see what Kevin O'Connell can do with this team coming down the stretch here. I kind of want to see him get an interim role and have him get an audition as a head coach.
Yeah, if I'm Dan Snyder or whoever is pulling the strings over there in Washington, I think I'm going to be relieving Jay Gruden of his duties post New England Patriots, and just let some new interim guy kind of take the reins. Whether it be the defensive coordinator, whether it be O'Connell, your guy since day one. Whoever it is, and then I would get new blood into the franchise. Gruden's just been stagnant for years. The Redskins have just always kind of been mediocre. If they do make the playoffs, they're in and then they get bounced, but they're never really picking top 3, top 5.
They're never making the playoffs except for that 1 year, in 2015.
Yeah, so here, Spencer, what are your thoughts on some of these younger quarterbacks around the league? Because I was actually having this conversation with my little brother, not to switch the subject here.
No, it's perfect. We were going to bounce anyway.
Yeah. So, because me and my brother were talking a little bit about the Jets and stuff like that, just not being able to win with a backup quarterback. And I was, we were kind of going back and forth of all these different teams that look competent and look good with their backup quarterbacks, like Jacksonville, like Carolina. You have all these teams. Pittsburgh got their first one with Mason Rudolph.
The Colts.
Yeah, the Colts. There's a ton of teams out there right now that are winning games, and they look really solid with their backups, but the Jets just look absolutely atrocious. What's kind of your thoughts on some of these younger guys like Minshew, Kyle Allen, and stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my thoughts. Just gonna take one thing off right here. So I'm back now. I'm back. That was annoying me. So when I look at these backup quarterbacks, or look at these guys that are getting thrust into these roles, I think that at the quarterback position, it's the most bogged down it's ever been, because the good quarterbacks, there's only about 3 quarterbacks that are actually really legitimately awesome in the NFL, year in and year out perform great. It's Drew Brees, it's Mahomes, and then you might have a Tom Brady. I know you like Russell Wilson. you texted me late last night. He's a good quarterback. So maybe he's in that 5. But then everybody else will have their good games and their horrible games. They're all in the Kirk Cousins mold. Derek Carr, Cousins, Mariota, even Matt Ryan this year is going up and down, up and down. So I don't get why you're paying these guys big-time money, because these backup quarterbacks are just as good sometimes as the starter. So I look at Rudolph. He's just okay. Gardner Minshew, to me, is he's clutch. He had a great end of the game drive. Like, you got to ride the hot hand of these backup quarterbacks. I think Kyle Allen can really be legit in this league. None of these guys are stars, but I just think that a lot of the starters this year have trailed off, JC. When you look at Matt Ryan having a really bad season, Deshaun Watson up and down, Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott. I just don't think it's valuable to pay a quarterback anymore. I just think it's a whole just jumble of guys. And the 10th overall quarterback and the 35th, there's not that big of a difference at all at the position.
Yeah, and even guys like Trubisky, Jameis Winston, Matt Stafford. I mean, I know you touched on Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins and stuff like that, but and it's, you know, it's weird because I feel like we live in this you know, in a day and age where it's almost like next man up is going to get the biggest contract ever. I feel like every contract that's being signed is you know, the highest paid. And I feel like there's going to be a breaking point at some point where a team's going to say, you know what? No, we're not going to be paying Andy Dalton. We're not going to be paying Jameis Winston. You're going to be getting $13 million a year. That's what we think you're valued. And then it's up to the other teams to kind of say, we're going to fall in line with those teams and not cave and just give in and just, you know, blow all this cash on a mega deal.
I think it's a credit to the quarterback position because these guys are coming into the NFL. Even at 18 years old, you're seeing guys come into college like Sam Howell, and he's playing really well against Clemson, against the best that there is to offer. So quarterback training is even better. So you could get a quarterback in the 6th round that could totally function in this NFL, and it was never that way before. Like, look at the Rams with Jared Goff. I mean, you really think that Goff is just light years better than a Gardner Minshew? It's not like even Gardner Minshew is necessarily like really special. It's just that there's so many guys you can choose from now. It's kind of a fun time to be a fan in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, with offensive football, like kind of flying high. Plus, you look at, you know, I mean, you just touched on the high school quarterback, Sam Howell. I mean, you have so many guys. The access is just so incredible. You can literally, as a high school quarterback, not only are you going to practice, playing in games and learning from your, you know, your high school coaches, you could go to coaching clinics. You can go to camps. You can go on YouTube and go online and learn about different systems and learn about how to get better. You can pay money and go work with a trainer. You can go fly out to California and work with a guy. Just the room for improvement is so much better, you know, not to mention like recovery, medicine, facilities, all that stuff for high school quarterbacks. It's insane because I was looking at the landscape of the NFL. Maybe outside of Cincinnati, every team out there, all 32 teams, or really 31 teams, have a guy that they feel somewhat comfortable with. I mean, Mason Rudolph kind of, you know, sketchy, but they feel comfortable with him, you know, comfortable enough to trade away Josh Dobbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting, and I like having this conversation, is that I think that the NFL defenses this year, something that I've noticed is that they're all replicating Seattle. Like, you're seeing less explosive plays. So if you watch these games, you're seeing so many 10 to 15-yard throws. Like, when have you seen a guy other than Mahomes and Deshaun that are bombing the ball? Like, that are throwing, like, it vertically down the field. I think it's all cover 3. That's the way Kyler Murray's been getting figured out. They're putting 7 in coverage. They're rushing 4 guys. They're playing like a cover 2. You know, it's like, you know, you saw Prescott. He couldn't throw the ball down the field. So that's what the NFL defenses are doing. I actually think the defenses in this league right now are having a lot of success. I really think the defense is caught up to these spread offenses. I really do. I think defenses are playing great right now in the league.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you have some up-and-coming guys. I mean, and, you know, it's kind of, again, in today's game, everybody's talking about, like, who's the next McVay? Is it going to be, you know, or the next McVay / Kyle Shanahan? Is it going to be Cliff Kingsbury? I know the Jets thought it was going to be Adam Gase. Freddie Kitchens, is that going to be the guy? But honestly, on defense, I mean, we have some bright young minds up and coming, you know, or you know, heading up through the ranks, like Matt Eberflus, Indianapolis, one of my favorite guys. Your guy, Chris Richard. I mean, you've known about him forever.
Eberflus. And
yeah, so there's still some some defensive-minded guys. I mean, Vic Fangio just got a head coaching gig. Brian Flores got his gig as well, even though that's not really looking too good. But defense isn't dead, right? Defense is not dead.
Yeah, defense is not dead. But I just think that at the NFL level, JC, I mean, you play fantasy football, like it's as impossible of a year in fantasy as I can remember. Like Julio Jones, Hopkins, Beckham, like the big guys. Like it used to be like we played in 2008, you would get like Randy Moss and he'd have Randall Cunningham and he'd get these yards, Jerry Rice. You'd have the best receivers balling out, but now you can have like an A.J. Brown get like 2 touchdowns and 150 yards. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like the star players, other than maybe Le'Veon Bell, like the star players aren't really being stars like in the NFL anymore. Maybe McCaffrey, but there's, you know what I mean with the wide receiver position? It's not a constant offensive explosion in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, of course you do have like the outliers, the Saints before Breeze went down, the Chiefs and the Patriots, obviously. But then, you have a whole bunch of good defenses out there too, like Denver, like Chicago, like Seattle. Even the 49ers defense has been stepping up this season as well. Got a bunch of young guys for the Niners. So I like the direction that the league is going in. I definitely would prefer, and I know everybody complains about the low-scoring games. I actually prefer those types of games where it's like 13-16. Like I love those games where it's just a bloodbath in the trenches, and every first down is just like such a relief. It's like 20 pounds being like alleviated from your shoulders.
Let's talk about the young quarterbacks, okay? I'm going to give you the 3 quarterbacks that are on the board right now as these, kind of backup quarterbacks. Rudolph, Allen, and Minshew. Do these guys have a chance to be starters for 8 years? Are there any long-term solutions here, or are these guys just having a pretty good year? What are their ceilings? How would you rank these 3 guys specifically?
I would have Mason last. Even though, interestingly enough, I think Mason has the highest ceiling out of the 3. I think really Minshew and Kyle Allen are kind of doing the same thing where it's just managing the game. They're not putting their team in bad spots by throwing multiple picks. They're not, locking onto one guy. They're handing the ball off. They're checking it down quickly. They're extending the plays. They're just kind of playing within the confines of the system. To answer your question, as far as a ranking goes, I would throw Minshew at 1, Kyle Allen number 2, Mason Rudolph number 3. I can see Minshew maybe getting a couple years in Jacksonville if they just continue to win games. Because, I mean, even the games that Jacksonville lost, I mean, in Houston, that game came down to a 2-point conversion, blown the game by, Doug Marrone lost them that game, by a boneheaded kind of call.
Yeah.
There's a really good chance that Jacksonville, and I mean, week 1 they played the Chiefs, and Foles gets hurt. Minshew looked good in that game too. So I wouldn't count out Jacksonville. I think Minshew could possibly be there for a couple of years. Kyle Allen, I think they're going to move on at the end of the season, or just downgrade him back to a backup. And then Mason Rudolph, I don't really know what's going on with Pittsburgh. Is Ben going to come back? What's going to happen with Jameis Winston? Will Cam Newton be on the move? What's going on? Over in Pittsburgh, I don't really know, but
Central, like that's the thing about the NFL is that all these guys are checking it down because that's how defenses play you now. So you have to like go on these 15-play drives essentially. Like there's rarely any man-to-man like cover 0. So I mean, even though you're saying these guys are game managers, I think the whole league has to be full of it. I think Rudolph doesn't have a big arm, but I don't know if you need one anymore with the way that the game is played right now.
Yeah, but I will say this, Blake Bortles didn't check it down, and they lost a ton of games. With the same exact unit, Gardner Minshew, there's a lot of promise. There's a lot of I don't want to say hype because they throw around that word a lot, but there's a lot of believers in the Jaguars with Gardner Minshew at the helm. Cam Newton didn't really check the ball down, just had a hard time kind of putting the ball in play.
Right.
Kyle comes in, he's the point guard. He's just trying to get his 12 assists a game, not really too focused on running, being a superstar. Not necessarily he's the anti-Cam Newton, but I think he's just, hey, I just got to get in, I just got to distribute, go through my reads, and throw it to the open football player. I think that's kind of simplifying everything.
Do Do you think that are you concerned with Rudolph if like a team plays man to man because he just can't hit like the next level, big level? He can't make big boy throws. Is that why you're concerned about Rudolph?
Well, Mason's still young. I almost feel like the game is a little quick for him. But the good news for Mason, who we actually met down in the Senior Bowl, great guy.
Yeah.
By week 15, week 16, the game, I mean, he's going to have all of those games just under his belt. So heading into next season with a good understanding of the playbook, because I think Tomlin got the extension, I think he's going to set himself up for success because he's going to have a ton of games played. He's going to have a lot of experience, another offseason, with the team. I think Mason's going to have a chance to compete next season for a starter if, Ben retires or whatever it is. But I think it's just too early. I think the game is just a little fast for Mason right now.
Okay. So I want to talk about this. I didn't really watch this Monday night game, but you were excited about it. Bengals played great in Buffalo. You do like the story of Zach Taylor and what happened in the game. It looked really bad, 24-3. Where's the direction of this team? Are they just going to – did they quit in the game? Are they going to quit going forward? Did they play hard? Tell us about that game on Monday and tell us, what the direction is for Zach and Cincy now.
Yeah, I think it's fairly simple. I think it's a young coaching staff. It's a young team that's riddled with injuries. That's not as talented as every other team out there. I know Pittsburgh is dealing with their quarterback issue, but you take a look at the Bengals, A.J. Green, out. Cordy Glenn, out. Their first-round pick, Jonah Williams, out. All these guys are injured, not to mention they weren't the best team in the league last year. They were picking, 11 for a reason. Zach Taylor is still, getting his feet wet. I think Andy Dolan has not looked good. I think the offensive line has looked, it's been mortifying to say the least. It's a work in progress, and I'm loving the direction of Cincinnati. I know people are thinking I'm crazy. Why is this team, a small market team that has no wins, exciting with Andy Dolan at the helm? But I find him interesting. I love watching the Bengals every week, and I'm pumped moving forward for him.
Yeah. Let's bounce around the league a little bit. Yeah. So, the Bills last week, Central, they have the Eagles and Browns look on their schedule. And before the Eagles played the Packers, you're thinking Eagles just lost to Detroit. They might have a down year. Doug Peterson doesn't know how to run the ball anymore. Jordan Howard has this huge game. Then with the Cleveland Browns, also on Buffalo's schedule, Nick Chubb goes crazy. They dominate Baltimore. That was a real wake-up call around the NFL there. So, but Buffalo, Matt Barkley is now going to be in for this week pretty much. Josh Allen forced a couple of turnovers, did not look good. I'll just give my opinion on this. I watched a lot of the tape, and the Patriots defense with Bill Belichick, Stephon Gilmore, they've made him into an outstanding player. In Buffalo, he was very inconsistent with Rex or whoever was there before Sean. This Patriots defense is – I don't even know who was in their secondary. There was nobody getting open in that game. If you watch the replay, and Brian Dable didn't continue to run the ball, Matt Barkley's now starting. They're playing a Tennessee Titans team. I think the Titans can be 3-2. I think Tennessee can win this game at home, and then Buffalo's back in that wild card mold. It's just crazy how a week can change things.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about it before the season, that this game right here, the Bills-Titans, much like the Bills-Browns later on in the season, those games are going to be huge for the Buffalo Bills if they want to make the playoffs. Obviously, it's going to be tough with Josh Allen being out. But and I know you're of course talking about the Patriots and they won the game, and all the credit in the world goes to Belichick. But I'm looking at it like Josh Allen threw multiple picks. You had a punt block for a touchdown. You had Matt Barkley come in, your star quarter or your prize quarterback, young quarterback of the future, exit early, and you lose by 6 points to the team that everybody's saying by far that they're the best team in the league. So I was really impressed with Buffalo because it was mistake after mistake after mistake, special teams blunder. Our quarterback gets hurt, and we barely lose. We had a chance to win and go on a 2-minute drive, but they didn't do that with Matt Barkley. But I was really impressed with Buffalo. I think this defense can travel. They beat the Jets on the road. They beat the Giants on the road. And then obviously Cincinnati, and they looked really good against New England. I think Tennessee right now, I mean, they're so inconsistent. They look amazing one week, and then there's weeks that they look horrible, So I think this is a must-win game for the Bills. It's tough break at quarterback, but you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way. Playoff teams find a way to win these games. You got to be able to do it if you're the Buffalo Bills. You have to.
I'm just worried that, eventually this defense is going to be, get tired of kind of carrying the team a little bit, and this is going to be such a low-scoring game. I mean, Mariota, even if you watch the highlights of Marcus against Atlanta, even the out route just seems so slow. It seems like a lollipop. Even though he's accurate, the ball just doesn't get where it needs to get to that quickly. So maybe Buffalo can pick six him a little bit. I could see that happening. Everybody's panicking about Josh Allen. I still think the guy is incredibly talented. Nobody's going to throw against this Patriots defense all year. It's not like he's missing wide open guys. The game plan was terrible by Dable. He needed to run the football. I mean, you need to keep it away from, the Patriots. And those turnovers were long interceptions, and they weren't good. But I still have a lot of faith in Josh Allen. And I think if Josh was in there, they would have found a way to score another touchdown and win that game.
Yeah, I think if you're the Buffalo Bills and you're kind of foreshadowing or, looking ahead, I would definitely be targeting a guy like, maybe Cam Akers out of Florida State or Travis Etienne, just some guy that you could just feed the ball to on offense and really take some of the pressure off the defense of winning every single game, because you got to control the clock if you're the Bills,
I think Singletary will be good, though.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't see Singletary as a guy that you can hand the football off to 25 times a game.
It's going to be that rock for you. How about this trade? How about if the Bills trade for Stephon Diggs just to get a weapon for this year?
Or a Thielen.
I think the Bills, if you give a first-rounder away for Diggs, you just need, for this year, one more receiver that can be a guy that can beat man coverage. Because to me, JC, I'm going to say this. I think this is the best chance the Bills have of making a Super Bowl, is either this year or next year, because I think this defense can't get any better. I don't think the team can be any better. I think their offensive line's great. Their schedule's easy. The Dolphins are bad. This is the year where you should be aggressive and go for broke.
Yeah, I agree with you. You said it best. The Dolphins are not doing anything this season. The Jets so far have not done anything this season. This is the year. This is where, the Bills have a really favorable schedule, but they have to win some games that a playoff team would win. In Cleveland, in Tennessee, those are two must-win games. If the Bills win both of those games and they just take care of business, against the teams like the Dolphins and the Jets, and the Steelers and whatnot, they should coast into the playoffs as that first or second wild card.
All right, Central, before we go on to breaking down these games or looking at who's contenders and not contenders, do you think that pocket passing in the NFL is sort of going out of style, or do you think that it's very difficult for a pocket passer to operate in today's game? Because you even look at Gardner Minshew, and you compare him to a Josh Rosen, and Josh Rosen by every measurement is a better thrower than Minshew, or he's so much more talented. But if you're not able to escape against these four-man pressures and just keep plays alive, it's just tough to make a living in today's NFL. That's kind of how I view it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad in a sense, because that's how you're supposed to play the quarterback position, go through your reads, deliver the football, kind of be the point guard like we were talking about earlier. Yeah. But we've seen it throughout the course of the season. All those quarterbacks that you mentioned, well, most of them, to start the segment, all of them are pocket passers. Josh Rosen, Dwayne Haskins, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan. All of these guys sit in the pocket. Stafford kind of extends plays from here, from time to time. Same with Jameis Winston, but you're starting to see a trend where the pocket passers are starting to get sacked more. They're getting pressured more. They don't really know what to do with the football. And it sucks to say it, but I think obviously it does help being mobile, like a Minshew, Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, just a guy who can escape, a guy who the defensive coordinators have to account for. Because you can't go into a Bills game and say, all right, Josh Allen's not going to run. You kind of have to figure out a quarterback spy. What's he going to be doing? Is he going to be escaping left, right, up the middle, quarterback draws, hard guy to bring down as it is, as opposed to, playing a team like the Falcons where you're like, Matt Ryan's not running. Kirk Cousins, he's not running at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it is dying.
Yeah, it's dying, unfortunately, because you know what it is? Because the defensive ends are just so fast now, and that's how you build your team. It's just like fast defensive ends that could just get after, the passer, like Khalil Mack and this smaller mold. When we look at this NFL this season, we have the Detroit Lions, and are they going to take this next step, man? I mean, we keep waiting for Detroit, and it's been such a great start to the year. Matt Patricia is shocked. I think he's becoming more of a player's coach. Like, you and I were sour on him, to start this season. Like, do you think that this could happen? Because I'm not confident still in the Lions. I just have seen so many years where they kind of break your heart, or where you think it's going to be a good year, and I just can't go there right now. But what do you think about this season, the Chiefs game, and everything with the Lions?
Yeah, I love Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is my guy. He was the guy who I wanted to coach the Jets. He was my dude. But the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFC North. They're 2 plays away from being undefeated. That fluke play against the Chiefs where they called back that Kenny G touchdown. Are you kidding me? That was a TD, obviously. Then, of course, the fluke 100-yard fumble return, whatever, on Brashad Breeland, or, whoever that was. I think
awful. It was awful.
That's just and not to mention the Lions are still in that game because they get the ball back. They go all the way downfield and put up points. I'm looking at this Lions team. They beat the Chargers, who everybody is announcing as a wild card team. Right. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who everybody was saying that Carson Wentz is going to win the MVP in Philly. Tough place to play. You actually witnessed that game, firsthand.
Yeah.
The Lions went toe to toe with the the KC Chiefs, who everybody is saying best team in the league, hands down. The Lions should have won that game. It just sucks because it's the week 1 game is just that messed everything up. The tie against Arizona, because Arizona is horrible, and it just looks bad. And to start the season off at 0-1, you just automatically get discredited. Like, they tied against Arizona, the team that's was picking 1 last year, not a threat at all. But the Lions defense, they battled back. Darius Slay, Coleman, these guys. I'm really liking what Detroit has to offer. They have a really difficult schedule, but I think the defense is for real. They got guys like Flowers and Snacks Harrison and stuff, and you can't forget about Daniels, who is ex-Packer. I love me some Detroit Lions. They're for real.
Daniels is a defensive player?
Yes.
And don't they have that linebacker from Florida?
Gerard Davis, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The thing about the Lions is it's so exciting. Like, the way they played Kansas City was absolutely wonderful. That's what they're capable of. I'm going to excuse them actually with that Cardinals game because it's week 1 and crazy things happen in week 1. I will say this, man. It's like this is the best team that Matt Stafford is going to – this is the best team Stafford has had in a long time. This division, the Bears are a good team, but it's Chase Daniel and Trubisky. It's clearly possible that the Lions can win the North, and that's my expectation. I'm actually putting a lot of expectation on Stafford now because if Stafford can win this division and host a home playoff game, and if they win a home playoff game, it'll just go so far for Stafford because Stafford's a tough guy. I just get on Stafford because his leadership, like it didn't seem like just communicating. It didn't seem like he enjoyed coming to work, and I think that had a lot to do with Jim Bob Cooter and just this offense of just throwing the ball 40 times short. That's not who he was. So I love that they're smashing the ball with Kerryon Johnson. Like I love what Bevel is doing there. This is Matt Stafford's time, man, because he can either be a very forgettable quarterback that has a lot of talent, or he could step up and finally just start getting W's with this really talented team. So I'm very excited for Patricia, and I think it's Matt's time, and he has to prove it this year. I think there's no excuse for the Lions now.
Yeah, that's an excellent soliloquy that you demonstrated for,
Yeah, I was kind of copying off of you, but
no.
Sounded awesome.
Yeah. Dude, every point you just made I thought was spot on. You hit the nail right on the head. Especially, what's going on with Minnesota. They're like in shambles. Nobody really knows what's up with them.
Kirk.
Their quarterback gets hurt. All of a sudden, the Lions could be the Bills of the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, for Kirk Cousins, now talking about Cousins, I just think he needs to settle down. Like this whole doomsday, him and Thielen needing to hash it out. And, I mean, it's like whatever quarterback is going to be better. Like maybe 5 guys in the league are better than Kirk Cousins. You can have Derek Carr. Like everyone's so mad about this contract. That's really what it is. They're mad that he's making all this money. But Case Keenum went to Denver. He went to the Redskins. I don't know, man. It's like Kirk's just got to settle down. This team is still good. I'm not pushing the panic button. There's so many quarterbacks. You look at Minshew and Kirk Cousins, it's I don't know. It's just Kirk Cousins, I still think he can be fine. He doesn't need to be great. I still think he can be fine, and I think people are overreacting a bit.
I agree. I mean, I think I know you said that everybody's mad about him getting paid a lot. I think it's him getting paid a lot and the Vikings being worse off than with Keenum, as far as the wins and losses go.
Mm-hmm.
He does miss open throws downfield, but you said it best. He needs to just relax and understand that Adam Thielen is a top 15 receiver. Stephon Diggs is a top 15 wide receiver. Dalvin Cook has played like the best running back in the league this year. And you have a defense that has pieces on it, like Griffin and Xavier Rhodes and Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr, who they just recently re-signed. So Cousins needs to settle down. He needs to relax. And I hope the Vikings do turn around this season because I like the team. But I have a feeling that Zimmer is probably going to be gone at the end of the year.
It's crazy. I think that division is just incredible. I mean, there's no easy games in the North.
Yeah, because I loved Cousins when he was with Washington. I thought he did really well when everybody was when he was like the underdog, I felt like he did a lot more. And when eyes weren't on him, when he didn't have any expectations, that's when he would just let it fly and let it go, as opposed to thinking about everything, calculating everything. I mean, Cousins he's an intellectual individual. He's a smart dude. So I have a feeling when he starts getting too technical with everything, when he's trying to place the ball exactly where it needs to be, when he's trying to say, okay, Stephon Diggs is a really good wide receiver, I need to force him the football or, figure out ways to get Adam Thielen the ball if he's really good. When he starts doing that, that's when he struggles. I think he just needs to play free, let it fly, throw his picks, and just live and die by the three-pointer.
I love that. Throw your picks.
Yeah. So play like Jameis Winston.
Be a gunslinger. I know you don't like gunslingers, but heck, he's got to be a gunslinger. I think the media in Minnesota, the public perception, and this now that I'm thinking about this, I would do this if I were Minnesota. And this is really going to not be a popular opinion because this is a very popular player in the NFL. I think Stephon Diggs, I think it might be time to move him. I'm sick of Stephon Diggs going on social media complaining about Kirk Cousins. I think that Thielen can deal with Cousins. But if you get rid of Diggs, the problem is that you nailed it right on the head because this team has too many weapons. So it's a terrible place to play quarterback because the defense is great. And then on offense, you have all these highly touted players like Thielen and Diggs. So they think that the quarterback should be dominating. That's what the public is thinking. And for Kirk Cousins, that is a terrible place to be. He needs to be the underdog like he was in Washington where there were no expectations. If he was in a small market like Cincinnati, he'd probably be dealing right now. He'd be having fun. And it's just that I think Diggs puts too much expectation. I think Diggs is going to actually blow up on this team. I think he's going to lose shit pretty soon.
Yeah.
I really do, man.
All your points are right, but the thing is that it's like, why can't Cousins get mentally locked in like that now? Why do we have to make the team worse? Why do we have to say, okay, we're going to have to take away one of our best players, one of the best players in the league, off of the team to now hopefully energize Kirk Cousins or to put him into a mental frame or a mental state of mind?
Well, if Diggs is being too annoying to Cousins, which we don't know, but you have to then deal with the problem.
Yeah, but I think it's not because Diggs is a crappy receiver. It's because he's not getting the football. And, who's throwing the football? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then they might be doubling Diggs. I mean, you got to use Irv Smith, Kyle Rudolph. You got to use guys in the middle of the field. You just got to scrape for victories. And the Bears game was tough. They have an awesome defense. It just looks really bad. I think they have to find a way into the playoffs somehow.
Yeah, they do. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs this year, there's no excuse. They got a clean house. I mean, they got holes all across the offensive line. But I mean, this is the one, and I like Cousins. I like Cousins.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Top 5 guy. No, I'm not saying that, but I like him. I think he's a good guy. The one thing that I want from Cousins, I don't want him to be so politically correct after the game and say, "Oh, we just didn't execute. Oh, we just got to get better on offense, trying to find ways to get Thielen the ball." He needs to just say, "I sucked. I sucked today. Thielen was making plays. Dalvin was making plays. Zimmer called up a great game plan. I didn't get it done. I'm the reason why we lost." That's how you're going to get Diggs and Thielen to back Cousins, by taking some blame, not saying, "Oh, we didn't do a good job and we didn't do a good job collectively as an offense." Just take the blame. Do what you need to do as a leader and just move forward from there.
Yeah, maybe just stop. Yeah, at every point, Cousins should keep his media interviews very short right now, because he is under the microscope, and if he doesn't step it up, Minnesota might have to move him, or you don't want to get to – now, Minnesota has no reputable backup quarterback, but – we're going to see with this team if they're going to sink or swim. And if I was Cousins, I would just not talk to the media that much. This is a time where this is the most crucial time in his career where he's going to sink or swim in this environment. It's very tough, though, JC, because we just talked about the Lions should win the division. You have the Bears that are really legit on defense. I think they're still actually going to make the playoffs. Then you have the Vikings who are saying they should make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers and that team is not terrible. Like, their secondary is really good in Green Bay. That's 3-1. It's like who's making the damn playoffs out of this division? It's hard to even think about.
Well, here, you want to go through it?
Yeah. So I could pull up the standings right now, and feel free also to ask. You want to ask me a question about the standings?
Well, I was going to basically ask you, who do you see making, just being the division winners in the NFC, and then the 2 wild cards? Because I think the wild cards are going to be more I think the games are going to be a lot closer. Like the number 1 seed going up against the second wild card, I think that could go either way, no matter how, whatever way you want to look at it. Whereas in the AFC, we're probably going to get that Chiefs-Pats matchup.
Let's look at the we can even do predictions. We're midway through the season. I'll give you my NFC division champions. I like the Cowboys in the East. I still do. I'm not panicking at all. The defense was just mediocre. It just was a flat performance, but they almost had a chance to beat New Orleans. So I think the Cowboys I'm pretty confident. I am going to actually pull the trigger on the 49ers. They have a very modern team. Garoppolo is playing really well. You still have Seattle and the Rams. That's a tough division to pick, because I think it's going to come down to the Rams and the 49ers, actually. I don't really believe in the Seahawks, and I actually think the Rams are going to win this game in Seattle, which is actually going to be a really good Thursday game. In the North, I'm going to go with my gut over – I'm going to go with my heart over – no, other way around. I'm going to go with my my opinion over what I want to happen. I want the Lions to win this division, but I'm going to play it safe and go Chicago again. I just think their defense, the way they're coached, they just are a very proven team in that NFC North. In the South, I am going to take New Orleans then. So those are the four. Who are your four then in the NFC, the champions of the divisions?
Okay, in the South, it's going to be the Saints. They're way better than Carolina. They're way better than Atlanta and Tampa Bay. So it's going to be the Saints. Breeze will be back at some point.
Okay.
In the North, I'm going to go with Green Bay winning the division. I think they're just too talented. They got so many pieces on the defense side of the football. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. Matt LaFleur, I love him. Love the offensive system.
Are you worried about their run-stopping capabilities?
Not really. I mean, it could come into effect because especially, playing teams like the Vikings who have ran the ball well, the Bears who have ran the ball well, the Lions, that's what they're trying to do better. So it could play into effect. But I feel like when it's all said and done, Green Bay will have this division maybe by 1-2 games. In the West, I'm going to say it's going to be Seattle in the West. Seattle's one of those teams I just love. I love this Seahawks team. Russell Wilson playing his best ball ever of his career. Pete Carroll, they have a bunch of young cast-off guys on defense just flying around the field. Of course, they still have their dude, Bobby Wagner. They acquired Jadeveon Clowney. I love Seattle in the West. And then the East. I got Dallas for sure.
All right, now we're gonna have now here comes the really hard part.
This is where it gets good though. This is where it gets good.
Gritty. This is the best part of maybe the podcast is trying to figure this out. So we then have 2 slots left. Okay. So we'll go with your predictions first. So you then have the Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the LA Rams. I think that those are the big 3 for you. The Lions, Bears, Eagles, and Rams. You got to pick 2 of them.
And the Niners, I guess, would be in there too.
Yeah.
I'm out on San Francisco. I love Kyle Shanahan, but I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Are they beating the Browns this week?
No.
Okay.
They're not. They're going to experience their first
I'm in on the Niners, out on Seattle. So that's our big conflict right now that we're going to look back on.
Yeah. Sounds good. So for the first wild card, I'm going to go with Detroit for the first wild card. I think this team is legit. Even though they have a really tough schedule, I think this team's going to get the job done, especially with Minnesota being in shambles and then Chicago kind of what's going on with Trubisky. I got Detroit as the first wild card. And then for the second wild card, I'm going Eagles.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there.
I don't think the Bears will get it done this year.
And the Rams are out.
Oh, man. Yeah, I forgot about the Rams. Do the Rams and the Eagles play?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't think so. They played a lot.
Man. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I think the Rams will miss. They'll be 9-7 and miss.
Okay. I have the Bears winning the division.
Yes.
I'm going to take the Eagles in the wild card, and that's completely being unobjective. I don't like that team. But,
yeah, of course.
Dude, I like their defensive line. Jalen Ramsey's a big possibility. He'll help them a hell of a lot. They're going to pay big. I'm all right with that, even being a Giants fan, because they're going to give away like a couple first rounders, but it might be worth it. Dougie Peterson is just clutch. I hate to admit it. He's just a clutch coach. I can't put the Rams out. I can't. I'm too confident on McVay. They just find ways to win. Like even in that Browns game, I'm not leaving them out. I've gotten burned by calling their demise so many times. So unfortunately, that means that the Packers, Lions, and Minnesota are gonna miss the playoffs, unfortunately, and the Eagles and the Rams are going in with the Chicago Bears. Because you look at the NFC North, they're all going to be average. Now, here's a team that is an actual interesting discussion to talk about. I got to give big ups to Bruce Arians, to Papa Bruce. You said he looks old on the sidelines, and yes, he does. But come on, they got Jameis Winston playing awesome football. Byron Leftwich there, that gang. I thought the defense actually looked bad a lot against the Rams, but I mean, what do you think about Jameis, man? Do you think that could he make this money? Like, is he going to sustain this success? How impressive is Bruce Arians? Because I'm impressed. I'm just going to say my opinion before you go. I think Jameis is going to be up and down. It's going to still be a roller coaster. He had one good game against the Rams. He's playing awesome football, but I just don't see them making the playoffs or him making noise. I think we're going to have the Jameis Winston games come into effect later in the year, but I got to give credit to Bruce. Like, he's getting the most out of this team right now.
It's weird. I mean, it's a tale of two halves when you look at it, because early in the season, the Bucs defense was fantastic and the offense was shaky. You know, Jameis Winston just chucking picks left and right.
Yeah.
But now the defense, I mean, they give up a ton of points to the Rams. They give up a ton of points to the Giants. And the offense has looked really good, you know, so it's weird. I think it's just too inconsistent, and I think the NFC is just too stacked. Philly's the better team. Chicago's the better team. Detroit, Green Bay, Dallas.
New Orleans. They need New Orleans. They're going to New Orleans this week. They can win that game. That'll be really exciting if they can. That's going to be a fun game. They have to win their division. Their terrible division.
Yeah, they can't. If their hope is a wild card, they're not making it in. They have to beat the Saints. They have to capitalize on beating New Orleans while they're, you know, a couple men down.
I'm excited about this entire division. You have Atlanta. Well, I'm not excited about them, but you have Carolina. If Riverboat Ron doesn't make the playoffs, then he's probably gone. Kyle Allen, this Carolina defense is playing really well. I am still excited, but I guess I'm going New Orleans. So, yeah, I'm going New Orleans. But crazy things can happen in the South, though. I'm really excited about Carolina, JC. Like, this defense is playing awesome football, though, right now. Like,
yeah.
I am.
I'll say this. I mean, Riverboat, you know, the Riverboat Ron can have an excuse at the end of the season. If he continues to win games with Kyle Allen and then Cam Newton comes back and then they miss the playoffs at 6-10 or whatever it is, he can say, Cam Newton's the issue, not me. Let's get him out of here, just like the Thunder did kind of with Westbrook.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey. Look at these games, though, all right? We got the Jaguars coming up for the Panthers. I think the Panthers win that game, okay?
Yeah, me too.
You got the Buccaneers on the road. Got to win that game for Kyle Allen, or that's a London game. They go to the 49ers. They have the Titans at home. They go to Green Bay. I'm not putting Cam Newton back anytime soon. I'm getting the most out of this Kyle Allen ride that you can get, man. Okay, he's 2-0 right now. I don't want to hear the words Cam Newton, okay? Let Cam recover. Let's see if Kyle can be the guy. Like, this is so exciting for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Ride out the Kyle Allen.
That the owner, due to, you know, financial benefits and stuff like that, and, like, you know, not having Cam Newton on the field can hurt them. But
right,
not necessarily saying Rivera just saying, okay, Cam's back, see ya, Kyle Allen, kind of thing, you know?
It's not going to happen. They're 2-0 right now. I can't wait to see that. And maybe Carolina wins that division. That's the least sure I actually am. The whole NFC, it's really fun. There's actually a lot of good teams in the NFC. Let's break down the AFC here. And again, thank you guys for watching our podcast. This is me. This is Jetscentral, one of my favorite guys to watch. You know, I love your channel, and this has been really fun so far. I hope we could do this like every week or every 2 weeks, man. I would do this every week. Yeah, no, I'm totally down for that. That'd be cool. In the AFC, all right. Do you want to lead with the division champions now? Yeah, I'll go. All right. So in the West, we have the KC Chiefs. I got the Chiefs winning. Not a huge surprise. In the North, I'm going to go with Baltimore. Baltimore was my pick before the season. I'm going to ride with them. So far, we got the Ravens and the Chiefs. In the East, I got the Patriots. Dolphins are horrible. Jets are an abomination. And then the Bills, competitive, not there yet. And then in the South, I'm going to go with the
This one's a toss-up, man. This is kind of like the South in the NFC.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think they'll just figure out ways to win games late in the season due to coaching.
Right.
So, Colts, Chiefs, Ravens, Patriots. Who are you going with?
The South is crazy. The South is crazy. I want to pick with my heart on some of these picks, man. I do. Let's just knock the Patriots and Chiefs out, and then we get to the real discussion. The South, every team can feasibly win. That's what's amazing. The Titans even have a chance at winning. I'm going to eliminate the Texans. I'm not a Bill O'Brien guy. You are. I'm eliminating the Texans right now from the race. Okay, then we have the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans. I'll take Jacksonville. I'll take the defense and Minshew. Minshew mania. Dalton, UCF went down to Denver and came out a champion.
I know.
So congrats to the Dalt. In the North, man, I really don't want to do it, but I'm gonna say the Cleveland Browns.
Okay. I mean, it's not a
believe it or not, I am gonna say this on the podcast right now. Do not quit on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Do not quit on Mason Rudolph. I think the Steelers beat the Ravens actually this week. I'm going to have fun on this podcast, Central. I'm actually going to take the Steelers to still win the North.
No, come on.
Yes, let's see how this thing goes.
There's no way.
Tomlin, Mason Rudolph, this team, this defense.
Yeah, they're 1-3.
But they're playing the Ravens next. They can beat the Ravens.
They can't beat the Ravens.
You don't think that's happening?
No.
Okay. The Ravens D is not good. Trust me. And I don't think that Lamar Jackson's going to have a day against Pittsburgh. That's the one bet. Pittsburgh wins that game. Niners beat the Browns. And suddenly the Steelers are in first place.
See, I'm thinking Baltimore wins, but it's going to be close. I'm thinking like 23-20.
Okay, so it's possible.
Justin Tucker at the end.
It's possible the Steelers win that, though. And then it's a dogfight. So that's what you got to hope happens. Because if the Browns lose, it's a dogfight, 2-3 dogfight. It'll get really fun then in the AFC North.
All right. So who are your wild cards?
I'll take the Browns. Oh gosh, I'm going to take Buffalo for sure. That's an easy wild card pick for me. I'll go Buffalo and the Browns. So I still will have the Browns and Steelers making it at the end of the day.
Okay. I'm going to say
Cleveland. Cleveland looks freaking good right now, I have to admit, as much as it pains me. Chubb is amazing. Baker Mayfield's heating up. This team is looking really good. This defense is actually great.
Well, I think the teams that we could just count right out, Miami, Denver, New York Jets, Houston Texans, Bengals. I don't – and the Steelers, in my opinion, too. But I'm going to say damn it. I'm going to say Buffalo and Cleveland. I'm off the Chargers.
You're off the Chargers, and you don't have the Jags in at all.
No.
So you have the Colts winning the division?
Yeah.
Okay, Colts. And you don't have the Titans and the Jags in?
And no Raiders.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders I think the Raiders are pretenders too. That means we're off of the Chargers bandwagon. Oh, man. This is going to be fun. I think that the Bills got to win that wild card game if they get in. You know? Correct?
Yeah, they would play either New England or KC, correct? Or
no. First round, man. First round. Yeah. You're playing the Colts or the Ravens. Okay?
They could beat Indianapolis. In Indy?
Yep, get to 5. They need that first wild card. Do you have the Browns in? You don't have the Browns in?
I do.
The Browns are 6 behind Buffalo?
No, Browns will be 5.
That means Buffalo's going to the Ravens then.
Yeah.
You understand that? And that's going to be – I don't know if they're going to win that game. Josh Allen's not going to play well. And the Browns are probably going to beat the Colts in your scenario. and the Browns will play the Patriots. That'll be so much fun. All righty, that kind of does it, man. That was a great show. I look forward to previewing more games with you going forward. I can even talk college. I could continue to even have this talk. But JC, it's been awesome, bro.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure to hop on. I appreciate it. Can't wait to do it again.
Let's open up the podcast. Should we open up the new YouTube channel?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. I'll also put this on my page. All righty. Thank you guys for listening. Take care. Have a wonderful day.